Hey guys, welcome to Two Split. So today's episode is a little different. It's about that space, either it's your man cave, your family cave, or that chill time. It's about the cinema room, or the movie room, or the game room, or whatever you want to call it, depends on where you are in your life. And it's not as expensive as people make it out to seem. I'm going to tell you what you need, the 4 basic things you need. We won't go into too much details on tech to get your own cinema room, or game room, or man cave, or chill out spot, and I'll explain how they could work in all the different situations, okay? So let's talk about space first. Come with me. Okay, so the first thing you need to worry about is space. Yes, I know people typically think for a cinema or game room you need a lot of room. That's not true. It's really about how much ratio you have to the screen size. In English, what I'm saying is, don't buy a 100-inch screen if you have a 5-foot space. It makes no sense. Otherwise, you're pretty much in the nosebleeds. I won't name the cinema, but kind of like when you're in front and you're doing it. That's what's going to happen in your house when you buy a bigger screen than you need. There's a calculator online you can use to determine how far away you need to be in your room from the screen. If you have a room that's about 10, 12 by 14, or even smaller, 10 by 10, or even 10 by 5, all you need is a decent wall space, and then determine the size using one of those calculators I talked about to determine how much screen you can fit into that room. That's 1. 2, you want to worry about lighting. You should be able to control the lights. If you can't control the light bleeding into the room, you will struggle depending on the projector. Since this video is cinema or game room on a budget, you want to worry about controlling the light because you're probably not going to buy an overly expensive projector that can pretty much broadcast in daylight. Some of them do pretty well in light, like the one behind me right now. I'll talk a bit about that later. But if you're going on a truly budget projector, it's going to need as much darkness as possible. So you want to get blackout curtains or blackout shades and be able to control the light. You're going to need a good source of air. If you're fortunate to have a decent space you're not using, you have a loft or something that's bigger than 10 by 12, you can maximize your room by getting a decent arm-like couch, and just lush carpeting can help so that everyone's on the floor. That way it maximizes the space in the room. Alternatively, if you have a smaller room, there are creative ways you can build stacking chairs. Yes, you can. You can get foam-like and get stacks and put them in 2 different layers. That way people can stay on the lower layer and above in a smaller space. So it creates like a pseudo-cinema seating in a smaller room, and you still have your cinema or game room. The third thing, if you don't have a dedicated room and you have a living room that you want to turn into a cinema viewing room, so what you can do is, you know these POP they have on the roof, right? You can get it designed in a way that it shades a pull-down screen, so that when you pull it down, that's only when you can use the projector over the TV. After that, you can just, when you're done with it, you can just let it go back up and you're back to your regular living room. Turn on the lights and no one is the wiser. Okay, so we talked about space. Now let's talk about the screen, right? Like I said, the size of the screen depends on how much room you have. So you want to get a really big screen if you can have at least 10 feet and more to sit away from it, so you're not craning your neck when you're looking up. But you want to get a smaller screen if your space is limited, if you have less than a 10 by 10 space. Then let's talk about types of screens, right? Now there are, if you want to go crazy, they're really expensive screens. There are diamond screens, acoustically permeable screens that let sound permeate from the back if your speakers are behind in your wall. It gets really technical, it gets really expensive. But you can just keep it simple, right? There's some really cheap screens, and there's some vendors that make good screens that give you great quality. The 2 things you want to look out in a screen is called the gain and the viewing angle. Dumbing down what gain is essentially is the material needs to reflect just as much light as it's getting from the projector. That way there's less blurred and dead spots. And the viewing angle is where you can look at the screen from without, losing detail, so to speak, right? So this screen pretty much, this is my man Jay's screen, and Jay likes to go big, so this is over 100 inches screens. And I was telling a friend the other day, he didn't quite get it. So when you measure your screen size, screens are measured diagonally, actually from edge to edge, not length by breadth. It's actually from one edge to the other edge. That's how you determine how big the screen is. I'll leave links below to the affordable ranges, under $100, under $50. You find something and you can just tack it on and work with it. You can even go even cheaper and get even more technical if you know what you're doing. There's paint that works with projectors. So if you already have a white wall or a wall that you can actually, so there's a type of paint that you can paint into a square, just measure out the space and paint it. and it'll work at least decently, especially if you get a decent projector that can project. If you can control the light, more importantly. I'm not just talking about the ambient light that's pouring into the room from the sun or the sky. I'm talking about the lights around where the projection is going to happen. What really helps is to sort of demarcate the area where you have your screen with strip lights. Philips Hue, a bunch of them. It doesn't have to be one of the upbeat market names. There are lots of off brands that actually work pretty well. Some of them are even Bluetooth. They have wireless remote controls. You can change the hue depending on which color your room is. So that's what the lighting does. It helps you sort of area of focus when you put that on. So that's two things you have to worry about with your lights. You need to be able to control the light in the room to almost pitch black darkness. You need to be able to have a segmented sort of lighting system if you can. It's not a must, but it sort of gives it that beautiful finish. So let's talk about the start of the project. Choosing your projector. This is what makes or breaks your game room or your family room. And like I said, depending on your budget, you can go really crazy and go buy one of the high-end Sonys or Samsungs. Ultimately, it depends on what you can afford, what quality you're looking for, and what you want to do with it. Let's start with what you can afford. If you want to buy a decent projector in a small space, the minimum in 2019, I think you should be going for, at the very minimum, it has to be a 1080p native resolution, because after that, 2K, 4K from there on. But most people have really bad eyesight, and most people can't tell the difference between 4K and 2K anyway, and there's not a lot of media that's going to project through that. So dude, if you can afford it, keep it minimal, keep it 1080p, right? Secondly, if you're a gamer, you want to worry not just about the resolution, you also want to worry about lag. Lag is a big deal. Shout out Apex Legends, shout out Call of Duty. You want to tap that button, and you've tapped it. You want it to happen almost simultaneously, right? But if you have a really big input lag and you tap the button today and your character shoots on Tuesday, you're dead. So you're gonna have a really awful experience if you're gaming. But if you're watching a video, you probably wouldn't notice, but gamers know what I'm talking about. Input lag is a big deal. Most good gaming monitors are under 15 milliseconds. That's ridiculous. Most good gaming projectors are between that and 60 milliseconds, right? Then anything after that, you're looking at regular projectors. Some people, like I said, preferences may not notice too much of the lag depending on the game you're playing, but most shooters and combat games, you will immediately notice this lag. The third thing about projectors you have to worry about is what type of projector is it? Does it use anti-lumens, or is it a lamp projector? Is it a regular lumens projector? Is it a laser projector? I know, it sounds like gibberish. Let's break it down. Laser projectors, they don't have a bulb, they don't have lamps. They're pretty much just bouncing off lasers through a refractive prism that's giving you super sharp image. They have an advantage in the sense that they have a longer lifespan. Most laser projectors do 20,000 hours, right? So that's basic math. If you were gaming 7 hours a day all year, you would game for about 7-8 years, right? In comparison to a lamp projector, they do on average about 2,000 to 3,000 hours. So you'd be worrying about changing that lamp in the 2.5 to 3 years time if you were gaming for 7 hours a day, every day. So like I said, they split across the spectrum. There's a really good projector, like Jay has a really good one for gaming because he's a gamer, I'm a gamer. So he wants low latency, it's really important to him. But the GT Derby, the Optoma GT Derby to be precise, is a really good gaming projector. It has low lag, latency. It has great HD resolution. It has great inputs for if you have a Fire Stick, for your Netflix. If you have, of course, HDMI is a standard practice. It also has a regular VGA connector as well. It also has a 3.5mm jack. So these are the basics you're gonna need for sound. One more thing about projectors, right? If you remember, I talked about how much space you have, right? So if you have a small room, you wanna make sure you have a short throw projector. What's a short throw projector? So a short throw projector doesn't need to be across the room. It just needs about 3 to 5 feet, and it'll generate almost 100. Some can generate over 100 inch of image just from that little distance. And that's a short throw projector. But there are also ultra short throw projectors. A lot of laser projectors have them now. If you just Google, you'll see them. They can be literally right here, like just a couple of inches from the wall, and they will still generate 100 to 150 inches of image on that wall. So sound is important. Like I said, on the projectors, most of them come with speakers. Some of them are pretty good, but you want to go with an external sound, right? Some people, you probably already have, if it's your living room, you're doing this in, you probably already have a sound set up. If you don't, and you want to invest in it, particularly for building one from scratch, you should just buy a soundbar, right? There's lots of great options to soundbars. You can be really expensive, you're an audiophile, you want the best of the best, then you're looking at your Polks, your Harman Kardons, you're looking at your Sonos has a really fantastic soundbar that does excellent Atmos sound. But this is cinema on a budget, so if you want to go the other way, right? You want to go to the brands that are not normally in your face, like Vizio. They have some really underrated soundbars that sound fantastic, and a couple of other brands, which I'll also leave in the description below, that the best ones are the ones that simulate 3D audio. So they have upward firing speakers that sort of fire up into the roof and behind you. So they can simulate sound coming from behind you. Yes, I know, but they are cool. LG has a really good one as well. You literally see the firing speakers on top, and it has a straight firing bar, and it comes with a subwoofer, really powerful stuff. So you can feel that bass when you're playing games or the driving scenes and so on and so forth. All right, so putting it all together, if you remember, like I said, small room, consider how much space you need, consider how much you have in your pocket. You don't need all the sound in the world. If you buy a really expensive soundbar like a Sonos One and All in a really tiny space, you're gonna wonder why you have it if your neighbor has a tiny Vizio that's doing just as much sound and it sounds just as good. Screen size, if it's too big, you're too close, you're craning your neck, you're gonna ruin that experience. Make sure the room is well aerated because it's gonna be dark. Of course, get an air conditioner. Shout out to James for letting me use his game room. I appreciate it, man. You know, it's really big compared to my game room. My game room is sort of like a cubicle if you stretch and touch both walls, but but my game room is still cool. Sorry with my big voice. Got emotional. And that's it. Hit me up whatever I missed out. If there's anything you want to know about actually setting up your game room, or advice on screens to buy, or advice on projectors if you're a gamer or you're a moviegoer, or you have a Fire Stick or your inputs and outputs in the game, in the projectors you want to buy, and options, just hit me up in the comments below. I'll try to answer all your questions as much as possible. If I can, I'm sure Jake can. He's a guru with that stuff. And if I missed out anything you want to know about, anything you want to learn more about, if you want me to make a specific video on any of the things I've talked about, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to get back to you guys. Thanks for tuning in to Split this week, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.